Okay, so today is a lot like yesterday. The difference between today and yesterday is that we're going to learn some congruences when we have certain things going on. I know that was kind of vague, but first off, we're still going to have transversals. We're still going to have alternate interior, alternate exterior. We're still going to have all of those types of angles, but this is where things change. The two lines in our diagram will always be parallel. All right? Do you know how they notate something being parallel? Remember with angles, they put a little arc for angles. If you had two angles that were congruent, they would do that. In a line segment, let's say you have a line and it's broken up and you put your lines there, or you could put two lines. You know what the marking is for parallel? It's this marking right here. It looks like a little arrow, and that shows me that those two lines are parallel. Does that make sense? If I look at the diagram down here, it's a little bit easier to see. Here are my markings that say they're parallel. Now, if those lines are not parallel, I still have corresponding angles. I still have alternate interior angles. I still have all those angles. They just don't possess the same qualities as they do when those two lines are parallel. So, first one, corresponding angles. We know what corresponding angles are, right? Yeah? Name a pair of corresponding angles. If I said angle 1, angle 2, angle 3, angle 4, what angle is corresponding to angle 1 in this diagram? Which one? 5. Okay. Oops, angle 5. Angle 2 is corresponding with what? Angle 6. Angle 3 is corresponding with angle 7. And angle 4 is corresponding with angle 8. When those two lines, however, are parallel, guess what? All of your corresponding angles are congruent. So if I know that angle 1 is 30 degrees, well, let me do that better because that's obtuse. If I know that angle 1 is 150 degrees, guess what angle 5 is? 150 degrees. Okay? So that helps us solve some things there. Okay? Alternate, say that again? Corresponding angles are, if you think about this like an intersection, like a road intersection, you have two intersections here, don't you? Corresponding angles are in the same position of that intersection at a different intersection. So like at this intersection, angle 1's on the top. The angle on the top of this intersection would be its corresponding angle. Okay? On this intersection on the left is 4. Its corresponding angle would be the one that's on the left of this intersection as well. Okay? So they're at the same location or the same corner of the intersection, just at a different intersection. Okay? All right, alternate interior angles. We know what interior is, right? Interior is between the two lines. So 2, 3, 5, and 8 are my interiors. Which ones are alternates? 2 goes with what? 2 goes with 8. And what else? 3 goes with 5. Now, I'm going to change the way I'm writing this. You ready? I'm simply going to change my little and sign. I should have done this at the beginning, sorry. But because of these theorems, we know that these corresponding angles, these aren't just corresponding angles, they are congruent. So I use that congruent symbol. Remember, that's the equals with the squiggle over it. So I'm going to say they are congruent. And guess what? Alternate interior angles are also congruent. So not only is angle 2 an alternate interior angle with an angle 8, it is congruent to angle 8. Same thing, angle 3 with angle 5. What about alternate exterior ones? Guess what? Congruent. So what are my alternate exterior angles? Angle 1 goes with, so angle 1 is congruent to angle 7. And what else? Angle 4 is congruent to what? Angle 6. So again, alternate exterior, they're exterior angles on opposite sides of that transversal. Okay, so? All right, last one is different. They are not congruent. They are supplementary. What does that mean? Add to 180 degrees. So, same side interior angles. What was that also called yesterday? Consecutive interior angles. So, what is a pair of consecutive interior angles here? 2 and 5. So angle 2 plus angle 5 is equal to 180 degrees. What's the other set of consecutive interior? 3 and 8. That is 8, right? Yep. So angle 3 plus angle 8 is equal to 180 degrees. What's nice about this is when you have parallel lines, because of these rules, you're going to find out that all of the acute angles, 4, 2, 8, and 6, all are the same measure because of various different things. And all of the obtuse angles, 1, 3, 5, and 7, are all the same measure because of those things. So it makes it a little bit easier to figure out these problems. So let's look at an example. If the measure of angle 2 is 47 degrees, what is the measure of angle 6? How do I know it's also 47? The reason is because angle 2 is congruent to angle 6, and which one of these describes their relationship? Because they are corresponding angles. Okay? All right, based on that value of angle 6, that was 47 degrees, correct? What's the measure of angle 3? How are 6 and 3 related? They are the same side, or the consecutive. So what does that mean? They add up to 180. Do you see this is an obtuse one and this was an acute one? So 180 minus 47 degrees is what? $133? Yeah? So the measure of angle 3 is 133 degrees because of the same side interior or consecutive interior. And that says that angle 6 plus angle 3, I should say the measure of angle 6 plus the measure of angle 3 is equal to 180. I should fix that up here too. It should be measure, not just the angles. Does that kind of make sense? So the difference today is we're throwing numbers in now, because now we have situations where we have congruent angles and we have supplementary angles. Yesterday we did not have that because the lines weren't parallel. All of this stuff only applies when we have parallel lines being cut by a transversal. Capiche? All right, so let's go to the back. And let's see what we got. Okay, so we have 2 and 4. They are same side interior. Are they supplementary or congruent? Supplementary. What about 1 and 4? They are corresponding angles. Are they supplementary or congruent? Congruent. 3 and 4, alternate interior. Are they supplementary or congruent? Congruent. And 1 and 5, alternate exterior. Supplementary or congruent? Congruent. The only ones that are supplementary are the same side interior or the consecutive interior. Okay, those are the only ones that are supplementary. All the other ones are congruent. What about, for example, angle 2 and angle 5? They're not any of those relationships, are they? They're not corresponding. They look like they're alternate, which they are, but they're not both interior or both exterior, so I can't conclude anything about them right now. Okay? I will be able to later, but not now. All right. This looks like some review stuff. Why don't you take a minute and name as many pairs of alternate interior angles, same side or consecutive interior, corresponding angles, and alternate exterior. Name as many pairs of those from this diagram as you can. So there's 2 pairs of alternate interior, right? 2 and 7 and 3 and 6. Questions there? Same side interior, 2 and 3, or what? 6 and 7. Corresponding angles, 1 and 3, 2 and 4, 5 and what? 7, and then 6 and 8. Those are all our possible corresponding angles. And alternate exterior. Angle 1 and angle what? 8. And then the other set would be angle 5 and angle 4. Okay? This is a little summary of the rules from yesterday. See if you can figure out 5, 6, and 7 using this diagram we were just looking at. See if you can figure out 5, 6, and 7. All right, if the measure of angle 5 is 65 degrees, what is the measure of angle 2? Well, first off, how are angle 5 and angle 2 related? And what do we know about vertical angles? They are congruent. So what's the measure of angle 2? 65 degrees. Okay? If the measure of angle 6 is 100 degrees, what's the measure of angle 7? Well, first off, how are those two angles related? They are same side interior or consecutive interior. And what do we know about consecutive interior or same side interior? Are they congruent or supplementary? Supplementary. So 180 degrees minus 100 degrees is 80 degrees. So the measure of angle 7 is 80 degrees. If the measure of angle 4, right here, is 78 degrees, name two other angles that also measure 78 degrees. Angle 7. So the measure of angle 7 is 78 degrees. And why is it 78 degrees? Vertical angles. Okay. So angle 7. What else is 78 degrees? Which one? Angle 2. And why is it 78 degrees? Corresponding. Now it says only 2 angles. Can you give me another one? Why is 5 also 78 degrees? It's vertical to 2, yes. But what else? It's also corresponding to 7. But if we go back to the original angle they asked about, angle 4, how is 5 related to 4? Alternate exterior. So it's related to all of those guys. So all 4 of those angles are congruent. So the measure of angle, what was it, 5? Is also 78 degrees because it's alternate exterior. Okay? Kind of get it? Pretty easy, yeah? Once you've got the vocabulary from yesterday down, it's pretty easy. All right, your homework has posted. Happy studying.